Newz reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If you need mathematics tutoring, that's high quality, very affordable, highly accessible. Check out the graduationparty.org for my parent company to actually get that. And if you actually can qualify as a tutor, you might want to check that out too to get you some bread. Now, moving on to the news. WNBA star, future legend, Baylor University legend, Brittany Griner was announced as being released from that gulag in Russia, the Russian prison camp, where she was sentenced to 10 to 9 years actually for being caught with a vape pen 10 months ago in a Moscow airport with just a little bit of cannabis oil and all of that, whatever. Well, the United States and Russia actually did the prisoner swap, and yesterday they announced that, you know, she was being released. You had Kamala Harris and President Biden in the White House with Griner's wife, Sherelle Griner, you know what I mean, her fine ass, right? But nevertheless, they had, you know, welcomed the news. You know, they were happy that they were going through with the prisoner swap. Who did they exchange her for? Well, Brittany Griner got exchanged for Victor Bout, a notorious arms dealer, somebody that the United States was very happy about capturing, considered to be a very dangerous man. So it was a very interesting play that this one-to-one prisoner swap took place. But it happened yesterday in Russia. Brittany Griner has just arrived in the United States today, early today in San Antonio, Texas. But yesterday when Sherelle Griner was at the White House, she was saying, you know, they're happy about it, whatever. And due to this, they are going to continue the mission to try to bring every American home. Now, that's very interesting. I think there might be some guilt there because the person who's still over there in the Russian prison is Paul Whelan, a former U.S. Marine that was actually there a couple years before Griner. You know what I mean? And he's still over there, so I know he over there in jail tripping. If you've been to jail, you already know how that might feel, whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm happy for you, but fuck that, man. Get me out of here. Like, now, why Russia felt the need to keep him and why the United States felt that this move was okay, it's very interesting. Some people feel like the Biden administration might be placating, so might be playing on the emotions of Black Americans to get us all souped up to vote for him again in this upcoming 2024 election. That's why I keep telling y'all to vote for Bishop Grady. Write my name on that ballot. I'm telling you, like, because these other party systems is not the way. I'm telling you. Graduation Party, we here. But moving on though, you have Paul. You know what I mean? Getting Brittany Griner back is big for pop culture. I mean, this is somebody who in the NCAA, she's the only player to have and this is for men and women, to have 2,000 points and 500 blocks. Like, this chick is 6'9", she'll dunk on you. You know what I'm saying? The only WNBA player to dunk twice in a game. You feel me? So this is like, you know, big deal. You know, she's the first person to get the twice, period, matching Candace Parker, but she did it twice in a game though. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, I don't know. We'll see how this all plays out. Paul Whelan, man, free Paul Whelan. This is I think Russia might have felt right to suspect that Paul Whelan was, you know, working as some operative or whatever for the United States, and the United States might know that. However, they know they was using Brittany Griner as a bargaining chip. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a very interesting move. I think for all of y'all that are upset about the trade and as if like y'all should leave Brittany Griner out, this is a black woman, you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw Candace Owens saying something about that. Somebody from the WNBA need to smack the shit out of her, for real. Talking about it like she should get in jail. Oh, I guess it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Like, what the fuck? Like, bitch, this 10 years in jail. How you gonna even talk like so callously about that? Somebody needs to smack her in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it'd be somebody from the Phoenix Mercury. Hopefully, like just somebody, some WNBA player, please smack the shit out of Candace Owens. But how many niggas you think tried to holler at Sherelle Griner while Brittany was in jail? You know what I'm saying? You know how niggas do it, whatever. Like, I don't know. Comment below. What's your numbers and things? Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So, in the House of Representatives, they voted for the Respect for Marriage Act. 258 to 169. So, you know, a good majority of the people wanted this to be, which basically solidifies federal protections for marriages of same-sex couples and of interracial couples. Now, I know some of y'all might be like, dang, interracial couples, like what are we in the 1950s? Like, but the reality is, it was never codified. These all were things that were determined based off of past court cases. Now, with the same-sex marriage, however, it doesn't prevent certain states from banning same-sex marriage. And you know, we got a lot of conservative states out here that might do that. However, especially if the Obergefell versus Hodges Supreme Court case is overturned by our now like majority Republican Supreme Court. Thanks, Trump. You know what I'm saying? But it will still have them force those states to acknowledge marriage that'll take place in other states. So, you know, motherfucker could get married in another state and then come back to that state and live on. Now, is this groundbreaking? Does this help you or any loved ones? Because it legit might. You know, sometimes them tax write-offs that come from, you know, claiming filing as a married couple, you know, could be a help. It could be a plus. Green War and graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Now, in quotes, both parties have created this kind of requirement or pull towards the edges where you have to just unthinkingly support all of a party's viewpoints. It's made it difficult to find people who are willing to work together and solve problems. Now, these are the words of Kristen Sinema. This is the senator for Arizona when she was talking with Jake Tapper on CNN. I say that because she said she was interviewing with this because she has made her announcement that she is leaving the Democratic Party and registering as an independent. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the club. Even though I'm bringing the graduation party to the helm, I am a registered independent. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget to vote Bishop Grady in your 2024 presidential ballots. But moving on, Kristen Sinema, no longer a Democrat. Now, people are wondering if this means that if she'll be a part of any Democratic caucuses or whatever. You know, that's in the air. However, she did say that she's going to keep all of her committee commitments, essentially, which leads people to think, well, she'll still work with, you know, some Democratic caucuses. Caucuses being the small little groups, voting groups that form within Congress. Now, Sinema was, you've heard me talk about her in recent times because her and other Democratic Senator Joe Manchin were getting highlighted and pressured by Democrats to support Joe Biden's Build Back Better Act, which ended up being a $3.5 trillion deal that was passed after a lot of litigation and a lot of concessions, you know what I mean? Even some kickbacks given to some oil and gas companies and all of that. But the plan of the bill was to tackle inflation and climate change and infrastructure and all of that. But she was also known for, also with Joe Manchin, being against the Democrats trying to end the filibuster. Now, the filibuster being, you know, basically a method that's used on a congressional floor that allows people to just allows a vote on a bill to be like delayed kind of indefinitely or whatever. So it's like, unless you have a super majority, somebody could either get out on the Senate floor and just like hold the floor, not yield it. Basically, you can kind of be on your bully, or you just look for ways to essentially delay the vote on a bill that doesn't have a super majority vote on it. So, you know what I'm saying? Most probably infamous use of the filibuster is when Strom Thurmond used it against the Civil Rights Act of 1957. You know what I'm saying? Dude held the floor for 24 fucking hours. You know what I'm saying? So it's got a lot of racial implications to it. But, you know what I mean? What y'all think of that? Green War and graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. All this talk about Democrats and Republicans, all of that shit really needs to stop because they're both at fault. The House of Representatives has overwhelmingly voted in favor of the 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, which basically sets the budget for military for the next year, and they settled on $858 billion. That means any companies that create weapons or planes and all of that, whatever, they're already going to get crazy paid because the money, taxpayer money, is basically through that bill going to go into them while they go and treat these wars like party events all over the world, and it's the money that just keeps going. If you imagine that some of these people in these companies have connections with government officials, you could see the corruption right in your motherfucking face. And that shit has to stop. I've been reporting on the news, doing these BFN reports for a few years now, and the number just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And even this budget that was agreed upon was $45 billion more than what was requested. Only 45 Democrats and 35 Republicans voted against the measure. All these motherfuckers that be talking about, oh, we got to worry about the spending on the Republican side, whatever, they all voted, most of them voted for this shit. All the Democrats that be talking, fronting like, oh, we need to pull out of war, stop the endless wars, all voted for this shit. So they all got their hands in that shit, man. So that's where we live. I'm telling you, Bishop Grady, man, put me on that ballot in 2024, because this shit has to stop. Green War Graduation. News report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report over in Central America, in Honduras specifically. You actually have human rights defenders warning people of there being some possible human rights violations as the government of President Xiomara Castro actually suspended the constitutional rights of the you know what I mean, of a lot of places, including specifically two cities, Tegucigalpa and San Pedro Sula, as they basically have this war on crime, you know what I'm saying, try to have this major crackdown. So they sent thousands of police to both cities, basically to target anybody that was suspected of criminal activity. So it's led to a lot so far already, led to a lot of arrests, arbitrary arrests and searches. And this measure is actually set to be in place for a month. But the lawmakers of Honduras, they actually have the power to extend it even longer than that. They had something similar in El Salvador earlier this year. And El Salvador shares a border with Honduras. So, you know what I'm saying? Everybody stay woke, yo. The world's going crazy. Don't get too comfortable. Green War Graduation. This report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you actually have Reverend Robert Schneck, who had published an op-ed as a whistleblower last month in the New York Times, talking about how a wealthy donor had actually informed him about the Hobby Lobby decision back in 2014 before it was actually published as a decision from the Supreme Court or whatever. After this said lobbyist and her husband actually had dinner with Justice Samuel Alito and his wife. Now, and Justice Alito denies those claims. However, just yesterday, the whistleblower Robert Schneck actually testified in front of the House Judiciary Committee about the situation, where he was basically detailing how his far-right conservative group, Faith in Action, would systematically get wealthy donors, use them as, like, you know, he actually used the term like stealthy missionaries. But they would get them to basically befriend Supreme Court justices so that they could move in the direction that they want to move, that they want them to move into, you know, in their Christian conservative interests. So with this happening, you had apparently the decision, the Hobby Lobby decision, being leaked back in 2014 before people knew about it or whatever. And Hobby Lobby was basically a craft store that denied coverage of birth control to its workers. And you know, that situation went to the Supreme Court. Now, personally, I think it's interesting because, you know, some of y'all might hate me for this. I don't give a fuck, eat nuts. I actually kind of side with the Christians on a decision like that because, you know, it is somewhat religious freedom, which is the reason that they were citing for having that decision. If, you know, a store doesn't really truly believes that, you know, something like that is wrong, and they don't want to cover it on their insurance, you know what I'm saying, for their workers. Like, motherfucker, if you don't like that shit, work somewhere else, you know what I mean? Same time, though, what I don't like about it is, and I'm not a Christian, but same time, what I don't like about it is, like, if you are a Christian, you believe in God, ain't y'all supposed to be moving through faith and prayer? You know what I'm saying? Like, how was you getting wealthy donors to basically mosey on up with these Supreme Court justices and, you know, getting them to donate and influence and lobby and all of that, whatever? Like, shouldn't you be praying to God? You know what I mean? Shouldn't you be preaching? I don't know, that just perturbs me a little bit, but that's the situation on that. Robert Schneck, the whistleblower, again detailed yesterday what was referred to as Operation Higher Court, where he himself was recruiting these wealthy donors to act as stealthy missionaries. Green War on graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Man, if you need mathematics tutoring, make sure you check out the graduationparty.org to educate yourself or a loved one with high quality, very affordable, and highly accessible mathematics tutoring. I'm talking about as soon as you need the answer to a problem, you can actually press a couple of buttons and you will be speaking with the tutor just like here, just like how you're seeing me, and you will be able to converse and actually get some tutoring. Or you could submit problems, you can pay for answers, or you can just book traditional tutoring sessions. So definitely go check that out. Now moving on to the news. I know this is a major shift, but over in Iran, you know, I've been telling y'all about the protests that have been going on over there, all stemming from the death of that Kurdish woman, Mahsa Amini, while she was in custody of morality police who actually detained her because she wasn't wearing her hijab properly. Now there's been a bunch of protests that have been going on since then. Well, the news outlet The Guardian has actually put out a report. They're saying that Iranian security forces have actually been firing shotguns at these female protesters in the face, in the breast, and in the vagina. You know what I'm saying? And they were able to find this out because they have actually been interviewing doctors who were secretly treating these women because, you know, they didn't want to get arrested or detained and, you know, probably ended up getting executed themselves. Mind you, these protests have been going on for a couple months now, a lot of weeks now. A lot of people have died. Hundreds have actually died from these situations. However, the doctors were seeing these women come in by the droves with these wounds in these areas. And also it's been reported that security forces are firing purposely at people in the eyes who've been participating in these protests, blinding hundreds of men, women, and children who've been in these mass mobilizations. So stay woke. Iran is definitely not a place you want to go to. And if you are in Iran, man, may God have mercy on your soul. May you find a way to get the fuck up out of there, yo. Green War on graduation, though. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. Interestingly enough, on Thursday, you actually had hundreds of workers for the New York Times. You hear me cite the New York Times a lot in my reports, in the Black Files News reports, where hundreds of their workers actually were protesting in Times Square for a one-day walkout, basically demanding that the company and its managers agree to a contract that was being proposed and that's been negotiated for over a year and a half. And they're calling out the hypocrisy of the New York Times because NYT would be most likely to put those stories out about, you know, this organization going on strike, or, you know what I'm saying, they present themselves as being like pro-labor, you know what I mean, pro-labor force, pro-people. However, when it comes to their own workers, it seems like they're not doing that. So that's what the protest is about. We'll see what their next move is. Green War on graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So over in New York, you actually had at the New School, New University, you actually have dozens of students that went on strike yesterday, occupying one of the university's buildings indefinitely to stand in solidarity with the 1,500 part-time workers of the New School that have been on strike since mid-November, who've also been in solidarity with student workers over in University of California. So it's a nationwide thing going on where people are demanding affordable and reliable health care, higher wages to match the skyrocketing inflation that's going on around the country. You had them demanding job security, as well as basically protection against like harassment and things of that nature while at work. So workers have been striking. This week though, the New School actually decided to cut the pay, stop paying wages to those part-time workers who have actually been on the picket line. So, you know, of course that sparks outrage. However, they submitted a proposal to the workers, and the workers are going to remain on strike while they review the proposal, pardon me. So we'll see how this all turns out. But you know what I'm saying, power to all of the people that's striking out there, because these universities and colleges and all of that are reaping crazy profits. You know, just with the whole student loan scamming and all of that. Yeah, I'm calling it a motherfucking scam. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what's happening. You know, I graduated from some of these schools. It ain't got nothing to do with me having loans. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, you know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that's protesting. You know what I mean? Get them to cough that bread up. Green War and graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So the Human Rights Watch actually put out a report condemning the human rights abuses that seem to take place over in El Salvador in Central America, where they're accusing President Nayib Bukele's state of exception, which was put in place nearly a year ago to condemn violence and drugs. And they've been using that, basically accusing them, Human Rights Watch is accusing the state and their officials of like mass arbitrary detentions, forced disappearances, torture, and, you know, indiscriminate arrests and murders and all of that, whatever. 58,000 people have actually been arrested. And this is from the forces actually going into what they're saying. They're targeting low-income neighborhoods and with this type of force. You know what I'm saying? 58,000 arrested, including 1,600 children. And at least 90 people have actually been killed. However, that's at least 90. Again, we're talking about disappearances. So it takes a while sometimes to know if somebody's dead or not, if they fucking disappear. You know what I'm saying? So it's that type of style going on in Central America, you know? And you heard what I said over about in Honduras or whatever. So it's getting real fuck out there. Green War graduation.